S B S. That is one enormous amount of change. Welcome back to SBS Live this week, where, yes, the logical place for us to start this week is going to be talking about change in general. You've certainly noticed a few things probably different already by this point in the episode. New title screens, new additional music in behind these dead spaces that we used to have, because we're a music show, and it's about time that we express that in every possible avenue that we can. So look forward to these episodes being a little bit more jam-packed, full of all kinds of good audio stuff via Rob at SBS. Once again, our guest here this week. We're going to talk a lot more, finish off the interview. I know that we ran things a little bit differently in that last time, and we've kept you waiting since then. So maybe there's been a plan all along, maybe there hasn't been. That's up for you to judge, but I think you'll already see a difference in between last week's episode and this week in terms of how it's shot, how it's put together, the kind of interactive nature of the show kind of coming to, I don't know, it's evolving. So we're always happy when we find a new development, a new angle. We accept change and we embrace it. So we're very excited to have Rob here lead us through an entirely new episode, more or less, in terms of redesign, how we edit it, how we put it together for you to watch. Is there going to be music? Yeah, there's going to be music. We do that. That's not going to change. That's never going to change. If anything, that is only ever going to get better. So once we're done talking with Rob about more SBS info of all kinds and the human connection, we'll get to music from Singed. Rumor has it that there is a band that is possibly known as the Beards of Canada, might also be dropping by later on today. So definitely stick around, because it's going to get a little bit strange as we kind of get adjusted to our new surroundings and logos and fun stuff. But it's going to be informative. It's going to at least let you know a little bit more about what we do here aside from these interviews, which is actually a heck of a lot. And I haven't touched on that stuff very much yet, whereas somebody like Rob, he's the perfect person to lead you through this studio tour and to really show you what SBS is capable of. And like I said, at some point, I know somebody somewhere around here is going to help us demonstrate how this studio really works. So welcome back to SBS Live this week, Reborn. We're very much happy to have you with us this week and going forward from here. So welcome back to the show. Let's get to it. In conjunction with Jeff Jeffries, radio host of Vancouver.
Our man, Jeff Jeffries.
I mean, this guy is the man, right?
He's bad at golf, but he's great on the radio.
Ouch. I mean,
mind-bending on the radio.
You heard it here first.
Horrible at golf.
Rough, but the Great Canadian Hit List is, in fact, great.
The Great Canadian Hit List. I'm so excited about this show. I mean, the guy's just a beast. I enjoy listening to him. He's really literate. The way he speaks, it's just, and he produces really well. I mean, I enjoy just listening to his show. It's every bit the quality of anything you would ever find on a major radio station.
Absolutely.
And I'm sure his show is going to get picked up.
Yeah, and that's an important thing to know. Like, I mean, he is doing all that editing on his own. That's a tremendous amount of work. Aside from listening to me talk for 5 hours at a time and then somehow cutting it down to 7 or 8, whatever it is, which he's generous to allow me for that. It's just a tough job of editing all that kind of stuff. Everybody has a different speech style in terms of how they approach a microphone. Again, Jeff, thank you very much for doing what you do. But again, that's another avenue that we've kind of opened up with, now a professional radio host involved for these indie artists to kind of be exposed on as well. Like, we're going to talk about the week that your episode is airing. I know for a fact that we're talking about Nixie. We haven't even had them here yet, but we're excited to have them.
Yeah.
And I mean, this is cool to have that other avenue to kind of, just vent it out and just kind of inform people about what's out there.
I mean, if you're building a movement, you got to come at it from all angles. And I mean, I'm really excited to be able to coordinate with Jeff Jeffries in any way possible, support each other's art, because we're both about the same thing, getting great music out there and exposure for artists.
Story time. It's only fair that the people know what our, professional relationship, how we started this, where it all came from. So I'm going to start you off where my perspective of the story starts, and I'll let you carry it on from there as to how this actually came to be the friendship that it is and the working relationship that it is now. But if you remember right, I met you at a Edgefest concert. Very, very briefly. In fact,
yes.
I spotted you from a distance.
Yes.
I met you right during the act, after the act of Matt Good that day.
Matthew Good was on the stage. The kids were feeling a little rowdy. I was feeling a little rowdy.
Rowdy as in we've got now boards that we're used to stand on.
We had peeled
over
the floor of the mosh pit up, and we had held full sheets of plywood up on the mosh pit. I jumped up on top of one of these and pulled my pants down to my ankles in front of Matthew Good.
Right.
And gave him...
Yeah. So now, keep in mind...
He mentioned from stage that he did not want to see my white ass.
Right, and I haven't encountered too many people that do since, but I mean...
No one does.
That's right. It's just who we are. But, I want people to keep in mind that I still hadn't met him yet. I am standing off far in the crowd with a friend of ours, a good friend of SBS, Brandon, and he finally figures out in the crowd that there's Rob right over there on this board, and there go the pants. Just, he's no quicker to say, hey, that's Rob, than just gone. Now, that's how I got introduced to this guy. So, a unique character to me is always going to be worth my time. But I wasn't always like that either. I wasn't always this talkative. So there's a point that everything kind of changed, and maybe explain that a little bit.
Yeah. I mean, there's friends on the periphery, and then there are people that you know really well. And I was tired of having you on the periphery for a while there, and I just came up to him, and when we were walking one day as a group, and just kind of took him aside and said, I'm interested in figuring out what's going on with you, and I'm not going to just let you be on the outside anymore, so be ready for it.
Yeah.
I kind of was always approach things head on and say and do whatever I felt at the time kind of person.
You said was, you still are.
I still am, but I am a responsible adult now.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I can say that. Yeah, you're turning out pretty good anyway. You still got a ways to go, right? Yeah. The beard keeps you, fresh and young.
I'm 32 years old. My birthday was today.
Hey, I got him here on his birthday to do this. So, again, thank you very much, dude. I appreciate, there's nobody else in the world I'd rather be doing this with, and you know that. So to have you
I thought I was just filling in because someone canceled.
No, it's not the case. It's not the case.
Because we don't have cancellations. This is just not something that happens for us. People want to work with us.
Absolutely.
And not only that, but
we got to line up around the block.
Yeah, we do. And think about things like, man, we reached out to Sweden.
I mean,
like, did you ever think that was going to be something that would happen? Or we've got Bulgaria in the works now, and UK. These people are assembling videos the same way that Singed has. Again, completely different arts and different representations of different styles of music, and that's exciting, man.
I mean, worldwide. If you're going to build a movement, it's eventually got to get worldwide. And I didn't expect it would happen that quickly, but
let's surround this world in sleeping bags, right? Like, I mean, it'd be kind of cool if we could pull that off. Again, from your perspective, because most people know mine, either reading the blog or listening to me yammer on through the show, what are the short-term goals of SBS, and then, obviously expand on those and bring us into the future? Where do you see this going?
Well,
do we even know?
mean, first and foremost, we want to provide artists a place to record their music at a way reduced price from a professional studio in downtown Vancouver or Burnaby.
Yeah.
We get the sound. We care about the sound.
Right.
And we achieve it for a lot less money because we care about bands sounding good, being able to put out a great sounding demo. And I mean, the movement has begun in terms of putting out Sleeping Bag Studio or putting out SBS Live.
Right.
And I mean,
is it becoming like a hub?
The dream has been modified. I mean, now we want to create a hub for new music and for people to get exposure and contact.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the only thing that keeps a band from becoming worldwide is people knowing about them, and to get together and to be able to put people together and just talk about what's going on in the scene. It's just good for music.
Right.
Instead of working from the top down, deciding that we like this song on the top 40 or that song on the top 40, let's work from where people are at right now, because these are guys that, they work wherever, at your local grocery store or gas station or something, and put out killer efforts and amazing albums. I mean, people all around you are making this music, and it's something that it can really excite,
We'll touch on that a bit, because we talk about the power of the internet all the time, and from everybody knows my perspective on this stuff, but is it fair to say that in a way that the world is today, by industry standards, if we were to continue on that path, is that almost like holding an artist back in a way nowadays, because you can do so much with the internet? Why not put it out as far as you can across the world, instead of just being limited to a single tour or something like that, where you can only touch on so much of the planet at one point? Is it not kind of at that point now where we should be somewhat focusing on how many people we could reach and connect to?
I mean, the scalability for the networking, that's one thing, but I'm just really excited to be involved with these bands and just be working in the local scene. And I mean, you can't start out reaching the whole world.
Right.
And,
that was something that we never even saw coming our way, to be completely honest, right?
Right, but everything needs to be taken a step at a time, and every group is in a different spot, in a different place, and needs something different. And that's where Sleeping Bag comes in. We offer a custom package of work. We listen to what you want and your goals and needs as a band, and we have the equipment and the know-how to get your music sounding perfect and out there in front of the people.
We've been at different stages ourselves in terms of learning things musically. Is it just are we trying to encourage people to grab everything that they can musically and make a sound? What is it that we're trying to say by just having a variety of things here?
Well, that probably came about because we both love to play a wide variety of things.
Yeah, fair enough.
And if we reach our arm and we don't hit a different instrument, I mean, we go out and buy a new instrument to put in that spot, because that's what we love to do. We love to make sound.
Right.
And it comes from the way I listen to music as well. I mean, I love when sounds come together, and I want to provide a place where if someone needs a specific sound, they can get it. It's right here. It's right there.
Right.
And I want people's creativity to not be limited by the fact that they only have one guitar and live in a studio apartment.
Right.
You know, like...
And I mean, at this point, it's set up here to, you could show up in theory with nothing. As a full band, or just as
we
an
would
artist,
tell you to get dressed and
right, yeah, that'd be fair,
and be appropriate.
Yeah.
But yes, if you showed up clothed, you would have everything you need to come out with an album.
Fair enough. Yeah, I mean, I'm hoping anyway, right? I mean, that's the only expectation you can have of a clothed album, is that they could just instantly snap out a full album, right?
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
I've got my PJs, now I can rock.
When a band shows up here for the first time and they're having a look around the studio, or even from the outside when they're coming in, you know, we're different than others. At the end of the day, we try to be. You know, we've got a unique environment here. This thing is an intimate, you know, environment that we've designed for ourselves at the beginning. I mean, this is important to us.
We've been conceptualizing this and growing towards this for a long time. We love the idea of recording music at home and being comfortable, being able to sit around all day for days on end and make music. And, you know, the idea of having it in the house for personal reasons had always just been with us for a long time. And it's kind of the first time we've taken it to a level where we decided this needed to be absolutely professional quality.
Right.
And we had a house to work with. I mean, people show up, and I think possibly walking up towards it, they would think that they're not sure what they're in for because it's a house. But
absolutely.
I mean, this is completely modified.
Once you walk in, it's a little bit of a different story,
it's
right?
unbelievable. And
it's covered in sleeping bags.
And we've been musicians for so long. Right. We know what we want when we want to record.
Well, explain that, because like that's one of the, honestly, I think that's something that we really do offer, is that because we've done everything on our own in terms of learning, assembling, you know, building the studio and that kind of thing. How does that help you relate to the people that we're trying to reach, the people that need that voice, the people whose music you say we're fighting for?
Well, I mean, we've recorded in every different style and method conceived, and we have written songs together in every different imaginable configuration. Right. And so when a band shows up, they might want to record this instrument first or that instrument first, or they might want to, you know, make their song completely live. Who knows? Right. And we've done all of those things and achieve the best possible sound out of that method. Right. So we get experience from being a band together.
So you're not forcing them to necessarily adapt to your style?
We don't have a set style, that's right. We are absolutely configurable. Okay. And, you know, we start every studio session with a sit down and just bounce ideas back and forth about how they want to get their music recorded. Right. And I am able to offer the pros and cons of different methodologies. Sure. Yeah. And they can make their choice based on however they feel. Because in the end, you want to capture the artist's true feel. Right. And you don't want to put them in a box, force them to do something they don't want to do, or make them work too quickly or too slowly or whatever. We let you set the pace, set your goals and ideas, and...
Well, the intentions at the end of the day are always going to be the same, right? The band's going to want them to sound the best they can. We want them to obviously sound the best they can. So, I mean, people might come at that from different angles, but it's always the same goal.
A lot of producers and studios are concerned with having a specific sound, and we pride ourselves on being adaptable to the style of music that you want to achieve. Right. And we've made music in all kinds of different styles and produced all kinds of bands from different genres and different areas of life, and everyone wants something a little bit different. And if you don't know all those things and choose to adapt to them, I mean, we are comfortable with your mix sounding like sandpaper in a blender if that's what you really want.
Sure, yeah.
You come to us, you talk with us, and you tell us, and we'll make it that way.
Right. So, I mean, again,
we're here to support art, not influence it or change it.
Right. Which is, I mean, that is something that you've touched on it a couple of times in this interview. You've talked about how different producers or, different time limits can really restrict that creative freedom. So, again, at least my perspective on what we've built here, certainly that we've achieved that real goal of giving people that time to really represent their art and get it right, man.
Absolutely.
At the end of the day, we are music lovers. That's exactly what we're here to do. That's how this whole thing got started.
Yeah. You know what bands like Collective Soul or Sigur Rós or any band under the sun, when they make enough money to get an album recorded the way they want to,
right,
they generally spend weeks or months in the studio.
Sure. Yeah.
And people can't afford weeks or months at $1,000 an hour,
No.
$500 an hour, whatever. I mean, go call Bryan Adams' studio right now and find out what it would cost for you to record for 3 days.
Right.
And then compare that to what we'll work with you for 3 days.
Right.
I mean, we're looking to pay rent and occasionally buy new socks.
Yeah.
And these guys down at Bryan Adams' studio are looking to get rich.
Right.
And we're about art and music and developing local sound.
Yeah.
So
really representing that voice. I mean, I think you nailed it. I want you to have full credit for taking that slogan and just running with it. But we fight for your music. That's
Absolutely.
Where it was born. And, it's a creative mind that runs deep. I know this.
Absolutely.
So, man, I think that was the perfect way to word it, because I know for me, that is absolutely how I feel. I want to be out there battling for these independent artists all the time, because I really do believe that the music is every bit as good. And I think that it's, it's just that it's not widely circulated enough. It's just not, there's not enough light and attention on it. And light attracts light. It straight up does. We know this. So in terms of bringing some attention, I like to think that from our little corner in the world, in the internet, we're doing what we can to really help these guys get out there. And in my opinion, it's important. Am I wrong?
I mean, a lot of these bands, they sell themselves. It's just a matter of hearing them, getting them out. I mean, and how are you going to hear a band if they can't afford to record a quality demo, or they can't get their articles and interviews out there? I mean, I remember the first time someone wanted to interview us as a band. It was incredibly exciting, and we show the people that we know, and they show the people that they know, and I mean, we end up getting exposure for it, and it really encouraged us as a band that people liked what they heard.
Yeah. So, to tie it all in together with what we do, and more importantly, what everybody else out there is doing through their music, and how they need some help in that representation, how important is the entire just kind of human connection to this project, and can it exist without it?
Well, I've found that human connection often indicates the strength of that person's character. If they're really in touch and eager to promote their music and eager to work together to make something, then it shows right away.
Right.
And I mean, it's exciting to get together and have an artistic connection with people and want to be involved in the creation of art. And I mean, I think it's one of the most important things in the world right now. I mean, we've got all this stuff going on. I mean, the world's just in chaos, and people need art. It brings people together.
Right. And I mean,
so it's kind of like part and parcel of the whole connection. I mean,
yeah. So without that, I mean, what are we doing here, right?
They just are together. They just exist together. Like, there's not one without the other.
Well, I want to take another look at that, and I know you do too. So let's show everybody a Singed track.
Yes.
Let's do another one of those, because it was awesome to have one last week, but I want another one this week. So
light it up.
They were able to send me one. Let's play a track. This is called "Be Yourself," and once again on SBS Live we have Singed.
Being a music show, we have got to provide you with some music. One of our favorite bands here that we've stumbled across over time in being SBS sleepingbagstudios, we have found a band called Singed, or they have found us. I'm not sure. That well goes quite deep. But musically, so too does Run the Well. This is a very, very cool band in terms of the sounds that they're putting out and what they offer in terms of art and music combined. The video that you're going to see, if you didn't catch the Singed episode earlier on SBS Live this week, this is a video that they've shot themselves. We've helped edit on our side. We've added in some fun layering screens and stuff so you can see what we do for effects. This is done in cooperation with this band, Singed, Corey and Teresa. Very cool people that have a fantastic attitude towards art and the creation of it. So we're very excited to be able to work with these people. All kinds of you artists that are out there that really want to do something unique. But bottom line is that you have that will to create and that drive to push it forward, because that is what we're all about. Just seeing that continual go after it, go get it kind of attitude from a lot of you indie artists out there that we just absolutely love every time we see it. So thank you very much again to Singed for allowing us to show this video of yours. Stoked as I always am. Singed, thank you very much for allowing us again to show your work through our studio here. You guys absolutely rock. We're so happy that we can put something that we know has taken so much effort on your time and through what you've put out there musically in terms of composition. There's lots of layers, lots of facets, lots of writing involved. So thank you guys very much for working as hard on this as you have. And to everybody out there, once again, this is Singed with a song called Be Yourself on SBS Live this week.
A human connection is important to us. You know it is. I know it is. But I need somebody else on record just so that the people know I'm not lying. How often do I sleep? How much sleep am I actually getting these days now that SBS is doing what it does and we're this excited all the time?
Well, I tell you, ladies and gentlemen out there, I am concerned for my friend. And I work tirelessly to try and find ways for things to be as efficient as possible so that he might get from 3 to 5 hours of sleep. I'm not happy with him going down for like 2.5, 3 hours a night. It's not healthy.
But let's face it, you know, when you create those things, I'm just going to find a way to pack more music into it because that's what we love.
I mean, I love the results.
You create more space for me. That's all I want.
As the great Les Claypool said, the flame that burns twice as bright burns only half as long. I just don't want you to kick too early, buddy.
Holy crap, Buddha. Thank you very much for being here. I appreciate you bringing your face out to the world, and I know they do too. It's about time we met you and really understood what you're about and what you're capable of. You know, and we've got footage of that studio tour we still want to get to with you as well.
Studio tour coming up, ladies and gentlemen. We'll get into the nitty-gritties. Yeah. I'll talk to the geeks.
All of that stuff, right? You know, control room, right? You
Absolutely.
Give us a look at that.
Absolutely.
Maybe some storage.
I'll get you a walk through the plugins and the software.
The whole deal.
Give you the full schmeal.
The whole deal. So stick around for that.
Robert, I just want to thank you once again for being here every day, for doing what you do, for all this audio improvements, for all these show improvements that we've talked about over this past while and implemented into this one here. I think you've got some great input and great ideas. It's one of the reasons I wanted to show you to everybody, my friend. So again, man, extremely happy to have you here as part of my life and part of this studio. You're not just a part of this studio, you are this studio. Without you, there is nothing, my friend. Thank you. So, let's stop buttering that guy's nuts and move on. We're gonna... before we move on completely, I want to let him have a crack at that studio tour, so let's do that. We're going to go through all kinds of awesome things about SBS and what we do and what we have and kind of a few of the weapons musically in our arsenal. So before he takes you through himself, I'm gonna cheat here a little bit, show you a few of my own favorite things that you know, people ask me, what do I play? I play everything. So does Rob. We've been playing everything for years. In terms of any kind of instrument that comes our way, we're confident enough to pick it up and find our way into a song. Technically proficient? He's got me on that by a long shot. For myself, I like this kind of stuff. This is what I think, you know, when you're lazy like myself, and for the most part you're a lead singer, you end up trying to find your way into songs a little bit more unconventionally. I use things like the K-Oscillator 2. This was hooked up by a guy named Ryan in the States from a company called Sweetwater that we were using when we originally set this place up. That guy is an absolute rock star. I can't help but post a Sweetwater link at the end of this show. I had a really good experience with them. You know what? There's international costs and all kinds of things associated with that stuff, but at the end of the day, customer service is important, and that's a dude that does it. Okay, that's my commercial for sure. Anyway, moving on. Of course, there's my favorite, the Buddha box. Oh, this thing bends pitch, frequency, and tone. Changes noises. And it's for people that are addicted to noise like me. So yeah, it actually is from Australia, imported from Australia. This is an instrument that is used by people like Mike Patton and various others, just to kind of add an extra layer of sound, an extra helping hand in a track. You know, at the end of the day, it's depending on the frequency and tone that you bend it to, that sucker just gets altogether weird. And one of our latest additions, I'm so happy about this thing, it's ridiculous. We both are. I know Rob's just as happy about this as I am. But this, holy, remember this from back in the day? Yeah, you do. Speak and spell, baby. You know, this is just one of those things you have got to have. So, you know, I don't want to keep you from the studio tour. We should get to that, because there's some genius stuff in there. I've seen it. Rob really walks you through this thing great. And like I said, after that, I think you're going to get a demonstration full-on of how this studio actually works. But, you know, again, just needed to show you some of my absolute favorite pieces in the studio right now, because these are definitely them. SBS. I mean, the thing spells like an absolute dream. All right, let's get to that studio tour with Rob, and we'll see you guys in a minute.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to SBS. We are here today to show you guys what we do in terms of audio recording. I will speak into a mic just because I care that much about audio. It drives most people nuts, except you, except musicians. They tend to like this shit. So here we go. Over here we've got 2 computers set up. This is actually 3 computers in one right here that we alternate, but we keep one screen for the sake of tidiness. It's where we do our audio processing. It's where we are recording right now. When I speak, the levels move. All right. So this is where we do video editing, and also we have a secondary Pro Tools set up there for editing when we need to use 2 machines. Here we have PV 14 channel mixing board.
What's this guy?
This is the R16 and 8 channel input recording interface. You can pick this guy up with you, take it to a live show. It uses battery power, and you've got 8 XLR inputs on the back. It's been done. It's been done for the pit, and you'll hear the audio soon, and I'm sure you'll think that it sounds pretty sick. I wasn't able to mic the show myself, but you're able to use 8 inputs here, so next time I'm going to mic it all up myself and get my own quality recording for mixing later. I was at the mercy of the soundboard at the pit show last time. And PV's brother, PV2.
PV2.
All right. Taking you through the studio. That's the control room. This is the storage room. We tie up the GIMP in the basement.
Oh yeah, the GIMP.
But Spider does not have any flies right now, so he's being quiet. Mm-hmm. And this is where we keep guitars, extra equipment, extra chords, placement drum heads, and custom built instruments.
What? Drain pipe?
Drain pipe instrument.
Okay.
You'll hear it. And where the magic happens, ladies and gentlemen, this is it. And I'll start with my favorite toy, my drums. I've merged an electronic and an acoustic drum set. The electronics are all fully programmable, so if you want a second ride over here, or another floor tom sound, or a crazy special effect, it can be sequenced so that you can play it in time with your band. Great for live performance. A lot of bands aren't sure how to sequence and trigger samples. You can get your drummer to do it for you. Keep it with the beat. Now, you'll see there's various instruments laying around at all times. We have a huge collection of guitars and basses, amps of all kinds. We have a xylophone. We have additional electronic drums and rotor toms that can be twisted for the drummer to play, or you can set up a percussion area right here with the xylophone. And we have a stack of bass amps.
Finger pointing, he's getting serious.
Pick your size, pick your flavor. We've got the large scale beast, which will peel the paint off of your walls. We got a mid-range monster, beautiful tone. And the micro PV, if you're into overdriving your sound and fucking cranking it out, this little guy does more than he looks like he will do. Jer is looking into his own soul right now. All right. And guitar amps.
You didn't give my soul much time.
I mean, you figure things out quickly, I guess. Marshall stack, 4x10. It is basically the Cadillac of guitar amps, and I found most people are able to get their sound out of it, which is important to me. I want it to be versatile. It does sound a little like a Marshall. It doesn't have the Fender high-end twang that some people really enjoy. If you have a Fender and you're addicted to it, bring it with you when you want to record here. We also have a small PV and a small Marshall amp. We have an infinite amount of effects through multi-programmable foot pedals. We've got a Boss ME70, which is the standard for programmable on-the-fly effect switching for guitar players, and a bunch of other Boss singular effects, which can be hooked up to guitars, basses, or some of these electronic instruments. We've got a Roland Phantom.
Rolling.
That's right. Pretty industry standard sound bank. I mean, everyone uses Roland. If you see any stage shows by any band on Saturday Night Live, you'll find a Roland, because everyone likes the sound. They have good quality sounding patches. Over here, we have the Roland MC909, my favorite instrument to create music with.
Why?
Because it does it all. It's a full-scale editing unit, sequencer, sampler, and synthesizer.
This is hooked up to that.
This is a MIDI input keyboard plugged into this, and you use it to record. It's also a drum machine, full scale. And we have an MP3 loading turntable. I used to have two, but one of them broke, and they are expensive.
Sad face. Brownie face.
All right. We also have several mini keyboards. There's variations laying around everywhere. This exciting little guy. And we'll get to him in a little bit. We also have Chaos pads, two of them. We also have a Speak and Spell, which we will show you how it fits into music in a few minutes. We have a vocal effects processing unit,
Yes.
which is Jer's favorite toy.
Because I need
Show him the smile on your face, buddy.
I need this thing like bread needs butter.
You describe this one, buddy. This is you.
This absolutely roams through a bunch of random effects that for people that are not quite sure what they're doing, it's perfect for. For people that know what they're doing, it's even better.
There you go. You got it. The final word. So, we are fully able here as a studio to record everyone playing at the same time, or to record studio quality individual tracks. And we're able to put on a live environment, especially integrated with SBS Live for the interviews, where we get good quality sound coming out of everyone playing in a tight, packed room. It's effectively a live environment, but we refine it with studio quality recording. It's very exciting, it's very difficult, but we pull it off, and we're very proud of the fact that we keep our sound intense and high quality at all times.
How do we do that?
We do this in many ways, but I want to point out right now, we're called Sleeping Bag Studios because we use sleeping bags to deaden the sound in the room. We have a few layers, and if you step into this room, you immediately find that it's completely dead. There's no outside influence on this room, and there's no reverberation. When we record, we will add reverb additionally if that's something that you require for airiness and space in your sound. But when you record perfectly clean, you have the ability to add and edit later, which you don't have if you record dirty. So, thanks for listening. I've been going on and on about all the things that I love here at the studio. We love. I just want to make everyone aware that we are a recording studio that really cares about your vision, and we want to record local Vancouver bands. We want to get you guys out here, and we have very reasonable rates. You won't end up being charged an arm and a leg. You won't be rushed. And we have everything that we need to record you the way you want to be recorded and create the sound that you want. We're all in one here. You'll never need to stop a session to go to the store and buy a piece of equipment or rent an instrument or an amp. We have everything that you need, and we care about what we do. It really shows. SBS. Thanks for checking out our studio tour. Make sure you take a look at the links and check out what we offer on our website. We have detailed description of all of our services and a better explanation written down about how we can help you achieve your goals. Give us a call. Now we're going to demonstrate some of these toys over here and just show you guys what we have available for your use here at the studio. Thanks for that beat.
you've heard more than enough of me talking in this episode. We've been excited, and we've been happy to have you here with all new stuff kind of going on in the background scenes. Lots of different ideas that we've put forth this week, and hopefully that's something that you've enjoyed. I like to think it's made it a little more interactive, a little bit, just kind of flows a little bit better. So, basically, stop me if you can. That's where we're at right now. Sleeping Bag Studios is pretty much determined to keep this train rolling at full speed. The communication level here within our own team, that's just right at top notch right now. So expect big things from us, because we expect big things from you all the time. And just like you deliver, we expect that we'll do the same. So thanks again for joining us here on SBS Live this week with Rob. And we look forward to seeing you again next week. So when we do come back, which you'll find is surprisingly quick after the wait we put you through this time, the Island Special will be here, discussing my trip over to Vancouver Island to meet James Casper, as well as 5 bands that day. And we really uncovered some talent. We're excited to show you some, really kick-ass people that we met over there. Very enthusiastic, some very chilled out, and some, just really kind of finding their way and getting going. But all kind of deserving of that time and that moment, which was fantastic. Not that anybody I've ever talked to that I've found has ever been a waste of time. But I tell you, you find 5 groups of people assembled to be there in the same place, hosted by somebody else. All of these amazing minds coming together, we're capable of some fantastic things, everyone. And I think that these things are all coming together, and I like to think that the hub that is SBS, as we've referred to in this interview, is becoming firmly established with you. And it means a lot to us. Thank you very much for joining us throughout all of this and sticking it out through our learning curves. As you've seen, they're completely on display throughout the progressions and evolutions of SBS Live as we've been getting this show going, which has been a unique experience. It's not like audio and video recording, which we have been doing for decades or more. That kind of stuff is a little bit more natural to us. Assembling a full show, it takes some work, it takes some communication, it takes an amazing studio partner like Rob. And without these things in place, one man can't do it alone, and it never has been. Without you guys and without my own team, Sleeping Bag Studios just wouldn't even be here. And I freaking love these sleeping bags on the wall. I want to see them there for the rest of my life. So thank you very much, everybody. We'll see you next week with the Island stuff.